Long before your fathers and mothers were born, long before strangers drew borders across Africa, there stood a mighty kingdom called Mali. Its rivers carried life, its fields fed nations, its markets welcomed traders from every direction. The sound of blacksmiths echoed through its villages, and caravans stretched across the horizon like rivers of people. At the heart of that kingdom ruled a man named Musa. Many called him Mansa Musa, but my grandfather always called him the king who understood that riches are only borrowed from God. When Musa became ruler, the kingdom was already prosperous. Gold flowed from its mines like sunlight from the morning sky. Salt caravans crossed the Sahara, carrying wealth beyond imagination. Ivory, leather, books, and fine cloth filled the markets. Every visitor who entered Mali left with stories of his greatness. Yet my grandfather said something that surprised me. Gold did not make Musa great, it merely revealed the kind of man he already was. One evening, after the day's work was done, Musa stood upon a hill overlooking his kingdom. Children laughed below. Women returned from the river carrying water upon their heads. Farmers sang as they gathered the final harvest. Smoke rose gently into the evening sky. The kingdom was peaceful, but Musa's heart was restless. He turned to one of his trusted advisors. I have been given more than any man deserves. What shall I do with such blessings? The advisor lowered his eyes. My king. Only the Almighty can answer that question. Those words stayed with Musa. Night after night they echoed in his thoughts, until one morning he made a decision that astonished the kingdom. He would leave his throne behind for a time. He would cross the endless Sahara. He would journey thousands of miles on pilgrimage to the holy city of Mecca. Many gasped. Others pleaded with him to remain. My king, they said, the journey is too dangerous. The desert swallows caravans. Bandits hide among the dunes. Many begin the journey, but never return. Musa smiled gently. A path walked for faith is never walked alone. Preparations lasted many months. The finest camels were gathered. Thousands of servants prepared supplies. Scholars, soldiers, merchants, and attendants joined the great caravan. The people lined the roads to watch them depart. As the first rays of sunlight touched the earth, Musa mounted his horse. He looked back one final time at the kingdom entrusted to him. Then, with a quiet prayer, he began the journey. The sound of thousands of footsteps filled the morning air. The desert welcomed them with silence. Days became weeks. Weeks became months. The blazing sun tested every traveler. Sandstorms hid the horizon. Water became precious. Yet every evening, when the caravan stopped to rest, Musa walked among his people. He asked whether the old had enough water, whether the children had enough food, whether the sick needed care. He did not eat until he knew his people had eaten. That, my grandfather would say, is the difference between a ruler and a servant leader. At last, the caravan reached great cities along the way. People had never seen such a procession. They marveled at the richly dressed travelers, the long lines of camels, and the immense wealth carried with them. Musa gave generously to the poor. He supported scholars and places of worship. He believed that wealth kept only for oneself soon becomes a burden. My grandfather would always pause here and remind us that many stories about Musa's generosity grew larger with every generation. Historians agree he was extraordinarily wealthy and generous, though some details have become legendary through the retelling of time. That, my grandfather would say, is what happens when a generous heart becomes a story. When Musa finally reached Mecca, he stood among countless pilgrims from many lands. There were no golden thrones, no royal drums, no palace walls, only people standing together in worship. And there, surrounded by strangers who were equal before God, the mighty king bowed his head, not as the ruler of Mali, but as a humble servant. When he returned home, he brought more than memories. He welcomed scholars. He encouraged learning. He supported the building of beautiful places where knowledge and faith could grow. He understood that gold could fill a treasury, but wisdom could enrich generations. Whenever I remember my grandfather's story, I think not about the camels or the gold. I think about a king who walked thousands of miles to remind himself that no amount of wealth is greater than humility. So remember this, my children. Gold may make a man rich, but only humility makes him truly great. Never measure your life by what you own. Measure it by the kindness you leave behind, the wisdom you share, and the people whose burdens you help carry. The fire is growing low now. The stars are climbing higher into the night. Carry this story with you. Tell it to your children. For as long as stories are remembered, the footsteps of our ancestors will never disappear from the sands of time. And if the fire still burns tomorrow night, I will tell you another story.